What's up, guys? I'm Alan Klein. We are currently in the VanDOit factory. We've got Chuck and Deidre Kandra with us. They are VanDOit customers. They're both actually engineers, and we're doing something really special. We have invited them in to actually help build their own adventure van. So they're working alongside our guys to build their dream van. So we would love for you guys to get a sneak peek at the behind the scenes process of what VanDOit looks like. So join us.
So we're from Oregon originally. I mean, this guy's building ice caves when he was like 17.
Really poorly built ice caves.
Yeah. My family's always been outdoors, hiking. We met in college, both engineers. We had a trailer and we were looking for a different option because
we just weren't using it.
We weren't using it at all. We moved here in last August. And we hadn't even been to where it was being stored.
Yeah.
So it was pretty obvious we weren't going to use it. And so this gave us a really good option. But also being able to use it more than just like a trailer where you have to hook it up. And this could be, tailgating, and there's a lot of other things as well. And then of course we got the dog, so we have to of course be dog friendly. And also I think one of the big things is that we're gonna be able to use it as like an actual vehicle.
Right.
So we can go big versus if we need to go to the dog park with her. Well, so this guy loves to build things, and so for the last almost 20 years, he's built a lot of things. Some of them go well, some of them don't.
They'll go well. Some take longer.
Some take longer. So. My feeling was I would like an adventure van and I would like it now. I don't want to wait 5 years and, $100,000 later to finally get something. And so this way we know that it's a well-tested, it's well-built, you guys have done it, we've got the support that we need. He's not tinkering around. We cut out this 5 years of building and just go and do things and finally get out and then, have it for tailgating. And you guys have thought of all of these things, whereas that's not things that we would have thought of, but that when you look at it, you're like, yeah, of course, that's the right thing. So you get all of that experience in, none of the regret.
and it's worth it, right? I mean, all those little things make it worth, what you're investing in it. So and you can also tinker. Yeah,
and so you're not taking that away from you.
Right.
You're just giving you a better platform.
Better foundation. Yes, exactly. Like fine-tuning.
Which is much better than starting from scratch.
True. Very true. I agree. She convinced me.
Why make trillions when you can make billions?
Jared, make a mad scientist face.
It's too much. Too much flame. For the Kandra build, they're going with the preferred Go package with a driver's side box for storage, passenger side box for storage, and a control box that houses all electronics. Has a lower cargo tray, upper sleeping platform, ceiling inverted rail rack, and a removable kitchen pod. This van has the ability of having the cargo tray pull out 3/4 of its distance, and the upper platform is able to move up and down 20 inches of total space. We'll finish this build off with custom leather seating for 7-seat passengers behind the driver and passenger seat, as well as Toil rims and KO2 tires for exterior additional looks.
a lot of options in the van take either a lot of time or a lot of know-how, we have got a team that both knows how to do it and is spending their entire days making sure these vans are exactly the way that you need them. So for example, we do a lot of the tough electrical installations, such as running wires, soldering wire, all of the stuff that not everyone has the time to learn or do. We take care of that stuff so that you can take care of the fun stuff.
So we use a foil-based foam insulation that you see on the floor and ceilings. We use insulation like that for a lot of reasons inside our vans. It comes based out of the aerospace industry for a lot of reasons. The main one is space. It is a very durable product that has adhesive back, so it forms perfectly to all the surfaces that it needs to be on.
We'll see that, I think you guys get to help with wiring a little bit, but you'll see that we actually run different wiring things. If you wanted to add things on later, we wouldn't have to take out all the paneling again and run more wires. If you wanted to add, like, I don't know, hanging speaker pods or whatever, you can go back on and add audio options later or kind of whatever. So we kind of wire the vans for that.
Oh, that's great, yeah.
So with our wiring harnesses, we use factory-made wire harnesses like this one here. And what it does is it allows us to tie everything inside the vehicle with Deutsch connectors, which are all color-coded and keyed to where there is no mistake of what we're tying in to the different given colors inside the vehicle. And these run into a system that allows us to be able to check status of all of our components on the road, vehicles away from us. And it ties into standard fusing as well as grounding. Then we have high amperage controls to be able to distribute the power evenly to all the different components in the vehicle. Then for controlling, we use CAN-based switches that are located in 3 spots inside the vehicle. The amazing thing about these is they're corrosion resistant, built to withstand weathering, and they give us the ability of turning on and off different components throughout the vehicle, as well as set timers to where if you leave things on, that they will shut off after a given time. And one of the main features of these harnesses is that it gives us the ability of diagnosing the vehicles wherever they are. And then whenever we get into the audio video of the van, we've worked with companies like Maestro, iDataLink to be able to tie in to the factory system features. So if you want a aftermarket head unit like this one, we know how to tie in to our system along with the Ford factory to be able to give those features that you get with the factory van and keep those with the aftermarket system. So whenever you turn the vehicle off, your stereo can still operate to its fullest potential when the vehicle is on or off, given those different features. And then inside the vehicle, we also offer AC power, which we can convert from DC power into AC with an inverter charger controller. It gives us the ability of having 110 outlets. It gives us the ability to run air conditioners, different components inside the vehicle when you're on full shore. Or you can plug into shore power, pull off a generator, pull off whatever you want, convert it back into DC power to charge the battery bank and to distribute the power out. And we use all corrosion resistant materials out of the marine industry to be able to withstand just all the different requirements these vans are held to. What a lot of builders and DIYers don't understand is the importance of keeping consistency throughout your wires. We use certain types of wires for twisted pairs throughout our vehicle to be able to ensure security. And the most important one of them is you don't want to ever have to tear into the van because of faulty wiring, things like that. And so we special coat all of our custom cables to be able to pull through and over rough surfaces and different metals to be able to not worry about grounding out, scoring, anything like that. And the other thing is whenever you're using wires, it's very important to use the same types of wires. If it's aluminum based, copper based, whatever it is, consistency is everything whenever it comes to wiring. And corrosion levels. A lot of wires actually go out because they're not the same type, and that will cause like some of the most catastrophic system errors over time, because a corrosion can happen between two different types of metal, not just because of weather or humidity or different things like that. It can be from taking an aluminum based cable to a copper based cable, or your cheap wiring online, which is just a mix of a lot of different things. And so we use really high quality wire through our entire harnesses to make sure that it gives the life that we want in our van builds.
I think that's kind of another, if you want to call it a component, just the extruded aluminum T-slot system, because it's just going to be just having those opportunities, whether it's, we'll get, like hat hooks or coat hooks or, whatever, like gear storage. And I know that I can mount it here up on this wall. And if that doesn't work, then when we're camping, we just mount it over here, right? There's no like, well, I gotta go home and like remake a bracket or go buy this other thing from somewhere. It's like there's so many places to do that. And so I think as kind of like a feature, like a component feature, I really like that.
So with the way that we build our vans in a modular way, with just all the different features that we give our customers, we really do that in the sense of giving the customer the ability of buying a VanDOit with the DIY mindset that once they purchase our van, we've done all the hard work for them. We've done the wiring, the engineering, a lot of the things that really tie people up whenever it comes to DIY units. And we have done that in the ability of giving the customer everything they need in a van, giving them the sleeping quarters, the gear slide, electronics, all of it. But the biggest factor that we try to work into our van build is everything that we give them with the extras of being able to customize, add features, still make their van different than all other vans.
I think it's really impressive. I don't know, maybe it sound like little things, but maybe it's the little things that matter, but it's real impressive like how the cables are made, because it's really, there was some thought put into, well, it's not just string a bunch of cables and then wire things up because that's the last time we're going to look at it. There was some real thought was put into color coding and labeling and actually kind of like engineering the cables so that down the road, if you need to add on or you need to troubleshoot, you can look at it. It's those little details that I would say are come out when you look at engineering design, a team of people who have thought about debugging and what's the next step versus someone who's just putting something together the first time. It's those little tweaks that are kind of the tricks of the trade, if you will, of kind of a good design. So that's been kind of real impressive to see. The way that the electrical system is built to run off of solar, charge from the vehicle, charge from shore power, and everything's kind of integrated and everything works together, as opposed to having, this set of 12-volt lights, which works great off of battery power, but if you want to run your TV, you got to have shore power, and then back and forth. Which I think that's like a really well thought out system. So that's kind of I think that's gonna be real fun to just, doesn't matter where you're at, if you're plugged in, if you're running solar, whatever you're doing, everything works the same, right? So I really like that. So Sam was having me help build the cable harness for the radio. So and I guess that's another kind of point of thinking through like all the little pieces that make something feel like it's built for, purpose built and thought through is So we want to have the volume buttons on your steering wheel work, right? So I want to put in an aftermarket radio. That doesn't necessarily work right away, but you have all the modules, you've thought through that, you've built in the system so that all those things are all functional. And so we were basically wiring up the harness that makes sure that you can use all the steering wheel controls for volume and on your radio, and getting that all plumbed into the radio.
One of the major key components of the VanDOit Go van is our hydraulic bed lift platform that allows you to be able to move and shift the upper platform at different stages. It's one of the biggest features to our van that most people don't usually get to see until it's in person or really recognize, because of its just overall value of being able to put different size bikes in, multiple bikes in, being able to bring it down, be able to sleep more room on top, and especially in a mid-roof, with this being a high roof, space up above is a little tighter. So it gives us the ability of bringing this down exactly where you can maximize the height and maximize the garage storage to be able to slide in, slide out all your components. We've done electrical, we've done air, and we really settled on hydraulics for the safety and the ease. There's no cables that can hurt someone. We keep all the functionality and the ability of giving you the support and structure that's needed to be able to sleep above your garage storage, but still, whenever it's time to play, you can put whatever you want to maximize the space and give you really the overall value of converting this van from a passenger van to a toy hauler to a camper to whatever it might be. It can just work in so many different ways with the functionality of this platform having all of its movement and abilities.
I'm typically one of these people that just does everything myself. So in our last house, we're gonna put in a pergola in the backyard. I'm like, I'm gonna build that pergola, right? 2 years later, I built that pergola, right? It was like one of those things you could have hired somebody and it would have been done in 4 weeks, and then you could enjoy your pergola for the next 2 years. And instead, I know myself is, to get the level of quality that I want, it's gonna be this process. It's gonna be building it up and building it up. And it's going to take a long time. And so from one aspect, just being able to get a quality product kind of almost immediately, right, way faster than I could do it myself, is of significant value, right? And then maybe even more valuable is that you guys have learned the lessons that a first-time builder would have to learn the first time, right? Whether that's how things are cabled or how things are mounted. I know I talked a lot to Jared about the work that they've done on reducing rattles, right? So, I wouldn't know where all the rattles are when you do this. And so if you've done it a few times, you know there's a rattle over there and you know how to deal with it, and you build a system, you dampen it, or you change the way that you're mounting or whatever it is. And so you've done that already, you've learned those lessons. And there's no way as me doing it the first time I'm going to figure that out. I'm going to do it, it's going to rattle, and I'm going to have to redo it, and then that's another, umpteenth months to get there. So I don't know, there's just a lot of value associated with going with somebody who has learned those lessons and built solutions to them.
The system that we use in our Go and Do models with a 6-gallon removable water tank, it allows us to have on-demand water for any customer, to big systems to small systems. And then we tie in a hot water electric system to be able to give the customers who want that added comfort of having hot water in their vans on the road whenever they take them. It's a on-demand 2.5 gallon hot water system that whenever ran, it'll tie into the rear rapid deploying shower that goes onto the door, folds out, and then also ties into the kitchen pot in the front to give you the wash down capabilities at the rear of the van. Gives you kitchen access for brushing teeth, cooking, whatever it is, with a sink in the front of the van. It just gives you that overall experience of just having the water and then things that are necessary to you throughout your VanDOit. with most vans, you're having to take DC power, AC power, compacted in very small environments to where things can get very out of order, and it can be very tough to be able to organize and keep things simple for a customer, or as a DIYer, just understand what you're running where, and make sure you don't cross cables. If you get an AC cable switched with a DC cable, you can instantly fry your entire system without ever knowing it until it's too late. With how we run our cabling, everything is connected with this very specific plug to where DC power only runs through certain types of cables as well as through certain modules. And then for AC power, it's fully separate in its own casing to where the cabling only comes into the power distribution and then runs back out in its own color coding and its own sheathing, to where anyone who's building the vans, understands the vans, or has been around them can understand the difference between the AC power flowing through or the DC. Where most DIYers or builders go wrong is combining the cables, to where if there is something to happen, a wire melt down or different things, we keep them separate to where we know that if there's a fire or a meltdown or anything on the DC side, you're not affecting the AC, which could put an individual, an animal, someone in harm's way because things were not separated and kept clean. With the Ford factory system that we tie into off the passenger van chassis, Ford took a great amount of time and effort to really think through the heat of going through the floor, because heat rises, and putting your air conditioning above to where cooling lowers down through the vehicle. And the hot spot differences inside the Ford Transit is really one of the best systems that Ford really pushed very hard with their engineering. And with VanDOit, we tied directly into that idea and component to where all the heating is ran through the floor, and we tie in a system like an S-bar to heat on the floor to where the heat rises and heats throughout the vehicle. And with just all the different insulations and the air gap that Ford has left in the headliner and in the flooring, it gives us just the overall warmth that's needed in the winter. It gives us the cooling that's needed in the summer with our rooftop AC units, or running the factory secondary AC or the factory heat in the winter, and then adding in the S-bar just gives you the overall feel of a house, and how a house heats from the lower up and cools from the top down. And the efficiency and the ability of not having it hot in the front or cold in the back all at the same time, Ford really took it to another level to make sure they integrated that with these passenger vans. And with VanDOit, we kept those features of theirs and added to it.
We're planning on using this for tailgating to football and baseball games, and so there's a set of switches at the rear, which is where you'll be when you're tailgating, that you can turn on and off the lights and you know, some of those features. Whereas, you know, there was that thought put into doing that where if you were to do it kind of the most simple way, you would just put those switches in one location because that's just the easy thing to do, right? And so, I mean, those are kind of like little features that you that are easy to overlook, and when I think that they're not overlooked and they're included, means that somebody's really thought out how the van's going to be used, and is willing to say, okay, let's spend the time to figure out how to run a cable over here to do that kind of thing, even though it's a little bit more material cost, whatever, but it's of value, right? I would say the experience from both when we started the build sheet, kind of that whole start, you know, doing the tour and everything. I mean, it's been really nice to have it, be able to come and do that.
We really appreciate opening up the space and then having us in and showing us everything.
It's been, everybody's been real friendly and nice and easy to work with.